The sky above Queensland's Surat Basin holds some important secrets.
The atmosphere is the perfect record of greenhouse gas emissions. It's our bank account.
This is our data system, which grabs...
And an international team of scientists has found a way of unlocking some of these secrets with new precision technology.
It's the only method that will give you a reliable, totally independent measure of the emissions over an area like the Surat Basin.
The result is the world's first ever detailed methane emission map of a coal seam gas basin, with the vertical line showing concentrations of the greenhouse gas. And the results contain some surprises.
In terms of the coal seam gas sector, we are finding that the emissions per unit of gas that's produced is 2 to 3 times higher than has previously been estimated.
From floods in China and Europe to fires in North America, there's growing evidence recent extreme weather events are linked to climate change, giving further impetus to the push to reduce greenhouse gases, including methane.
The rate of methane is increasing at a record pace. Methane has a global warming potential on a 20-year timeline that's about 84 to 86 times greater than carbon dioxide.
And methane emissions will soon become a lot more transparent, with the launch of a new satellite expected to release publicly available methane data from 2023.
MethaneSat is a unique satellite on...
It is a big game changer, and we are all looking forward to having the MethaneSat up there, monitoring 7 days, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
That makes it all the more important for Australia to measure methane as accurately as possible. And up until now, it's mostly been an educated guess.
We are only flying 150 metres off the ground, so we're getting the direct emissions coming straight up into the atmosphere as part of this survey.
The international team selected Queensland's Surat Basin because it's a concentrated source of methane covering different industries. Combining aerial surveys with existing data, the team was able to get a much more accurate snapshot of the region's methane profile.
Some of the surprises were the extent of emissions that were coming off the raw water ponds, and we went back to those raw water ponds many times to validate our results, and every time we drove around those ponds there were substantial emissions coming off.
As well as higher than some previously reported methane levels from CSG production, researchers also found cattle and feedlots made up half of the region's entire methane inventory. And there are other significant methane sources scientists suspect came from abandoned exploration wells, but they can't yet be sure.
So we found some large plumes that we cannot account for at the present time. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in order to quantify all the sources of methane emissions.
The international team has been coordinating its work through the United Nations Environment Programme. Australia's peak industry group for the coal seam gas sector says it welcomes the findings.
I think anything that improves the overall detection is a good thing, because that will help us do better. It will help agriculture do better. It will help all of those industries, mining, do better.
Meat and Livestock Australia has a policy of aiming for zero emissions by 2030.
All of us have a responsibility to make sure that as we're trying to solve the problem, we understand the problem as well as we possibly can.
To what extent does your work show the challenge ahead for them?
I think it's enormous, because in our region of study, which is about 4,000 square kilometres, 50% of the emissions came from cattle.
That doesn't faze beef producer NAPCO, which runs a feedlot in the Darling Downs. And it's looking at ways of further reducing methane levels through a selective breeding program and diet changes, making cattle burp less.
There's been a lot of work go into feed supplements through a product called red asparagopsis. Effectively, that product means that animals emit less methane.
Scientists are hoping their work will help industry and government more accurately measure methane and help identify the low-hanging fruit, obvious ways of making significant inroads into cutting a potent greenhouse gas.
Reducing methane going into the atmosphere is the most cost-effective way to reduce climate change today. We don't need major changes in technology. We don't need to find places where we can stick the methane deep into the earth. We can solve a lot of these problems right now by just simply mapping where things are leaking and fixing it today.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.